It's that time of year. It's the wacky season where we're having a lot of different coaching changes, and one of the big coaching changes came down this week with the announcement that Rick Rhoades was heading to Gregory Portland to take over the G-Port program after being wildly successful at Cameron Yoe. And here to talk about it is the new head coach of Gregory Portland. It is Coach Rick Rhoades. Coach Rhoades, thank you so much for taking some time for us.
I appreciate y'all having me, Greg. Thank you very much. Always an honor to be on y'all's program.
I guess first and foremost, just let us know what went into this decision to leave a wildly successful program at Cameron Yoe to take over Gregory Portland.
A couple of things played into it. I felt like that we had accomplished a tremendous amount, during my time in Cameron. We've had an opportunity to play for 4 straight state championships. We are almost won 4 straight. If we would have done that and had the opportunity to go for a 5th straight, I probably would have never left Cameron. But the opportunity arose at Gregory Portland, and once I went down there and looked into the situation, and there's a lot of great things happening at Gregory Portland ISD right now, and I think it's a place that I can go and be very, very successful. I think it's a place that's going to be great for my family. It's just a lot of things played into it. One of the things that really played into it is when I was a young coach, coaching in Refugio, there was a coach that kind of took me under his wing and kind of mentored me and really helped me, get started in the coaching profession, and his name was George Harris. And Coach Harris just retired, not just retired, but 5 years ago, retired as the athletic director and head football coach at Gregory Portland. And they just named a big athletic complex after him. So, it's pretty special to me that I get to go and work for a place in which, I walk into a building every day that has his name on it, because he was somebody, and is somebody that's very, very special in my life.
How much did Gregory Portland's history, this is a program that's known across the state from down there in Southeast Texas. How much did Gregory Portland's history play into your decision?
Oh, a tremendous amount. The thing that you learn as a head coach, one of the hardest things to do is go to a program and establish tradition. And tradition is very, very hard to establish. It's much easier, at least in my mind, and in my experience, it's a whole lot easier to go to a place that has great tradition and try to build upon that tradition. And so that played a great deal. Like I said, as a young coach from 83 to 86, I was coaching in Refugio. And at that time, Gregory Portland was in their heyday. And so that was kind of the Mecca program for that area of the state at that time. So that played a huge amount in it.
We're talking with Rick Rhoades, the new head coach of Gregory Portland, here on DCTF Live. Get involved in the conversation, hashtag DCTF Live. I imagine it was a difficult task to tell your players at Cameron Yoe that you were leaving. What was your message to those kids as you were getting announced as the new coach at Gregory Portland?
Well, you're absolutely right, Greg. That's one of the most difficult things I've ever done in my life, because these kids, I love these kids in Cameron. We've been able to do some great things with these kids and these coaches. And I'll tell you right now that people ask me all the time how we were able to accomplish what we accomplished at Cameron Yoe, and I'll tell you the same thing I told them. We've been able to accomplish what we've been able to accomplish for 2 reasons. I've got great kids that work extremely hard, and I've got a great coaching staff. And to be able to leave, or to have to leave those kids, that's the hardest part of it. That's the hardest part of the whole thing. It just broke my heart because when you coach kids, you develop relationships with kids, and I felt like that I had some pretty close relationships with many of these kids. Cameron is kind of probably a good example of what our society's like today, and that in Cameron we have a lot of kids that come from single parent homes that really need a positive role model in their lives. And I felt like as a coaching staff, we did a great job of providing that for these kids. But when you do that, you get emotionally attached to them. And so it was very, like I said, it's one of the most difficult things I've ever done in my life, is to tell these kids goodbye, because I love these kids. They're great kids in Cameron.
One last thing on Cameron before we start talking about your new program, which should be very exciting to watch you down there. One of the guys that in that state championship game, one of the guys who obviously stood out, Trey Smith, suffering a really gruesome injury there, but right before halftime
Right.
A couple of questions. First of all, can you tell us? I think a lot of people would like to know how Trayon is doing. And secondly, do you get the feeling, that if Trayon hadn't happened, that you may be four-time consecutive state title?
Oh, of course I'm biased. I'll be the first to say, and probably the people at Brock wouldn't agree with me on this statement, but I think without a doubt that we would have had a great chance to win that game if Trayon stayed healthy. I mean, up to the point where he got hurt, which was about 2 minutes left in the first half, Trayon had rushed for 130 yards, and we were up by 2 touchdowns. And, him going down, I think the rest of the ball game, we rushed for 55 yards, I think. So, and that's not even taking into account the leadership role that he played on our team. So, without a doubt, I think that played a big part of it. And the fact that the injury was so serious, that's the thing. I was talking to one of my coaches today. If he'd have just sprained his ankle or something like that and couldn't play the second half because he sprained his ankle, I still think we would have had a great chance to win. But when the kids saw how serious the injury was, it was just emotionally. I mean, it just drained them emotionally, and so it was very, very tough to come back from.
And how is he doing now? I know obviously everybody wants to know.
He's doing well. It was a serious injury. Mm-hmm. I mean, out of the 4 ligaments that hold your knee joint together, he tore 3 of them, and he went in the 27th of December, and they repaired it. The thing that I kind of hang my hat on is that he had a surgery done by one of the best surgeons at Scott & White in Tepper. That surgeon told our team doctor that, in a 20-month period, Scott & White had performed 5 surgeries just like his. And out of those 5 surgeries, one of the young men was able to finish the year out. And so, it was a long road to recovery, but he was able to return and play. And so that's something that's, that I kind of hang my hat on. I really feel like that he'll get a chance to play again someday, and he'll be a great player. The thing that I really hope, my overall goal is I want him to be able to get an education because of his ability on the football field. And I really feel like that'll take place.
We're talking with Rick Rhoades, the new head coach of Gregory Portland here on DCTF Live. Get involved in the conversation at #DCTF Live. Coach, you're entering a bit of a bizarre situation. You're taking over.
Yeah.
You're taking over Gregory Portland, which is going to be in an 11-team district. Has this been something that you've thought about, and what's your initial reaction to all that?
Well, it'll be a different, something I've never done, and they decided before I got the job that they were going to take that 11-team district and put it into 2 zones, and so I've never been in a situation where the district was divided into zones, but it's kind of got a neat concept to it, and that the last week you don't know who you're playing until the last week of the season until you get to that point, and then the 2 zone champions play each other. And then that determines first and second in the district, and then the second place team from one zone plays the third place team from the other zone, and both the winners of those 2 games get to advance. So it's a neat deal. You got the possibility of 3 teams from one zone advancing, which is I like that. But it's a tough district. Heck, Cal Allen's in there, Alice is in there, or not district, but our zone. Cal Allen's in our zone, Alice is in our zone, and they've got a little bit of tradition of their own, and so it's going to be very, very tough. But that's the thing about being at Cameron Yoe is I'm used to being in tough districts. I mean, I think y'all voted our district a couple weeks ago as the toughest district in the state of Texas, and so that's nothing new to me or the coaches that are going with me.
I also want to have you been able to talk to your new players down there at Gregory Portland yet?
I was able to go down yesterday and meet them. So, I had a chance to visit with them a little bit. I haven't had a chance to visit with them in depth. And so, but I did get a chance to go down yesterday. And in fact, I met all the athletes at Gregory Portland High School. It was a pretty neat deal. They brought them all into the Performing Arts Center, which seats about 500 people. And it was packed. And they gave me a great welcome. I mean, I felt really good. After I left there, I felt like there was a lot of excitement in there, and I think that we're going to be able to do some great things at Gregory Portland.
When you get an opportunity to sit down and talk with your players more in depth, what's your message going to be to those players?
I feel like you got to have certain things in place to have a championship program, You know, I think first of all, you got to have players that are willing to work extremely hard. You got to have a great administration. You got to have great community support. Gregory Portland has all those things. There's really no reason for them not to be, you know, a great program, because all those things are in place. And so, you know, as always, you know, the thing that we've always built our teams on, you know, wherever I've been, and is that, you know, we're going to be a great team, and ordinary guys can accomplish extraordinary feats as long as nobody cares who gets the credit, and everybody's willing to work in the same direction. And so that message is not going to change. That message will go to Gregory Portland with us, and you know, if we can get them to buy into that, then I feel like we'll be able to accomplish great things at Gregory Portland.
He is Rick Rhoades. He is the new head coach of the Gregory Portland Wildcats. Coach, congratulations on the new job. Best of luck, and I'm sure we'll be talking soon.
I appreciate it, Greg. Thank you again for having me on your show.